What's up, everybody? Joe White here, and I'm doing a video here today to talk about Dave Meltzer. Yes, my favorite guy to talk about. Dave, you're my number one guy. Anyway, man, Dave just really has delusions of grandeur. And when I say that, he often throws around that WWE and AEW are in a war. We're in a wrestling war. What war? When only 250,000 people are watching your Saturday night show, and as far as the Dynamite rating goes, they still haven't drawn over a million viewers and I don't know how long. And NXT has beat them the last at least 2 weeks in a row. Um, so we're not in a war. This, yes, there was the Wednesday night war, but I mean, it's just so beyond. They're not even competition at this point to WWE in any way, shape, or form. They're not. They're in competition with TNA. They're number two, but hanging on by a thread. And now we have this deal with Ray Phoenix, who wants to join his brother in WWE. And Ray is online basically trying to say whatever he can without getting sued in order to be fired, because he can get sued for conduct detrimental to the company. He can get, there has to be some form of breach clause in there saying, hey, if you talk real bad about us and come out and say AEW sucks or something like that, then yeah, you could get fired. But, you know, Ray, this is coming from PW Insider. Ray Phoenix, who has not appeared on AEW programming since July, took to Twitter again in what certainly appears to be a shot at the promotion, writing, quote, I needed a doctor and you ignored me for months. Phoenix previously wrote, no one stays in a place where they are received inhumane treatment. Phoenix's brother Penta is currently a free agent, and the belief is he's WWE bound. Phoenix is believed to have many months left on his AEW contract. Tony, this is what Dave Meltzer had to say about this. Now it's about a 5 minute long clip, but I think it's worth a listen, and then we'll come back and comment.
And what's the story with Phoenix?
I mean, it's getting, he basically said that, I mean, I think the story is something that we've talked about before, is like with AEW, and if you get hurt in AEW, like basically you're supposed to get a doctor yourself. They'll pay for everything, but you're supposed to get the doctor. Unlike with WWE, where WWE sets up the doctor for you and everything like that, or New Japan, which does the same thing. So he complained about, them, whatever it is. And again, I don't know the whole story because he's just done some tweets about, just being unhappy, inhumane treatment. I think that's what it is. I mean, he's going to have to elaborate further. I mean, he's taking the tact. I know of many wrestlers who had contracts extended in WWE, many who came up with a lot of different ideas of how to get fired because they wanted to leave, and it never worked. Okay, it never worked, and they were, wild ideas. So, obviously Ray Phoenix, he's got a long time left. I mean, I'm not sure exactly how long, but one of his friends told me like a year, as far as injury time that they've tacked on. And obviously, he wants to go to WWE, and, he can't go. I don't, Tony Khan is in a wrestling war with WWE. He ain't going to do them any favors. And unfortunately, Phoenix is caught in the crossfire. And I think that they're probably upset. I mean, I'm sure he's upset with the way everything went because he wanted to keep the guys. And they didn't, I don't even think that they really even negotiated with him to stay. He didn't even get, I don't know that he even got a chance to match the offer, and they just wanted to leave. And, I mean, from their standpoint, like the other day I was saying how about Nathan Frazier. And I mean, the reality is if I was Pentagon and Phoenix and it was this stage of my career, unless the AEW money offer was significantly greater, it's time to go. I mean, for guys that are stale-ish or whatever you would call it, whether on both sides, if you're kind of just treading water and going nowhere, you go. You should go. I mean, look at Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin. I mean, they're fresh. I'm whether you think it's a good thing that they're there or not. The fact is that they're fresh in a new place. Pentagon and Phoenix, it's like, like in AEW, they've kind of established where they are, and they could go and it's a new fresh coat of paint, and they could be, again, you don't know what's going to happen in WWE. It could be a mistake. It always can be. But as a general rule, if I was a betting man or if I was someone who they asked for advice, I would say if the money, you go where, look, you're going to make big money either way. So it's like the money at that point, when you're making big money either way, you go where you're going to be happy. And it's just fresh paint, it's like so that's, if I was them, that's what I would do. But, Tony, he's not going to do WWE any favors, because they're certainly not going to do him any favors, and we're in a wrestling war. And whether you like it or not, I mean, I think look, it's not the optimum thing. I didn't like it when WWE did it. So in that sense, I should say that I don't like it when AEW does it. But I also understand that when you're in a war, you got to play by the rules of war. And you're not, as far as Tony Khan goes, I don't see him backing down on this one. And I think that Ray Phoenix is, knowing this, is probably out there trying to just embarrass the company any way he can. And this is the tact of trying to get a release. Will it work? Probably not. But, it's try. It's something. And, we'll see how it goes. I mean,
So Uncle Dave is like, we're in a war. We're in a war. He ain't going to give you nothing. We're in a war. Dude, it's not a war. It never really has been a war. You're in a war for talent. And when half your roster doesn't even want to be there, and the other half is just there because they're collecting a pretty good sized paycheck, this is not a war. It's not a war. MJF could get all the tattoos and everything he wants to, but I firmly believe that they have wasted him. They have squandered him since he came back. And let's be honest here. I said it all along. AEW is the better place, or an alternative wrestling company is the place for MJF. Why? Because MJF can't be MJF in WWE. He can't. It's impossible. He cannot do it. He can't shoot his mouth off. He can't say half the things he says in a PG environment. If he would have went to WWE, he would have been so watered down. The wrestling would have been there. The work would have been there. But he would have been so watered down, it'd be unbelievable. But to sit there and say, oh, well, in AEW, it's your responsibility to get a doctor. No, that's not, I mean, in reality, it is the way it will work in any other normal workspace. But this is pro wrestling. This is an athletic endeavor. In any other sport, you get injured. I dare say when an NFL person gets injured. See here, the pull one off the top of my head here. Quarterback, Dak Prescott for the Cowboys. If somebody plows into him and he gets injured, they're not gonna tell Dak, go find your own doctor and just send us the bill. And then this dude says that you ignored me for months. Does that mean they ignored paying his bills for months? We're not going to find out the real answer until he's fully released from the company. And even then, God knows, they probably are starting to tack on NDAs to their exit clauses upon release or upon termination. You agree that blah 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 blah. I would not be surprised if they have the NDAs baked into the comments. Old NDA con. But I think that we're never really going to know the full answer. We're never going to know the full story. And to ignore one of your wrestlers for months. This isn't the first time it happened. CM Punk, when he got injured, tore his triceps, he said that he got ignored for months, didn't hear those guys for months, and had to go get his own doctor and all this. It's pretty damn sad. And but to say we're in a war, I hated this. I hate this. This is not the 90s and early 2000s where you had to use a VHS and either you had to watch one live and you watched one taped, and those tapings didn't get counted. It's different now. We have 3-day and 7-day DVR numbers. Nobody factors those in. We are able to watch one show and record another, and that recording, as long as we watch it within 7 days, gets counted as a rating. I guarantee you AEW fills in the gap, that $1 million or million viewer gap, with DVR stuff. But to say that we're in any kind of war from the very beginning, I was like, this is not a war. They're not. Put them on Monday nights, then it's a war. Put them on Friday nights, then it's a war. Anytime they've ever really gone head to head with WWE on a Friday night or a Saturday night up against the pay per view, they get crushed. I think one time they technically beat SmackDown in the demo. And we always used to talk about, oh, the demo. Well, Dave always used to joke about WWE draws so many over 50s. And AEW's got all the 18 to 49s. Well, that's completely shifted. All the old codgers are watching AEW, and the young generation is watching WWE. I think that when they went up against the PLE last Saturday, and we saw for Collision, let me pull up this rating here. This was at Saturday at 5 p.m. on the 30th. They drew 144,000 viewers in a 0.04 in the demo. What was it when CM Punk debuted? When CM Punk debuted on 6/27, it was well over 500,000 views and a 0.21 in the demo. We went from a 0.21 to last Saturday on the 7th of December, 0.07. So you bled viewers on Collision. Rampage is pretty much non-existent now as far as viewers go. You're putting this Continental Classic bullshit on, which it's proven that tournaments like this don't draw because Americans don't understand and don't care about it enough to really follow it. Your fan base, for better or for worse, when's the last time they even drew 500,000 for Collision? Let me look here. It was when April 27th, when they did the NBA playoff lead-in, they drew 627,000 or 21,000 viewers and a 0.21 in the demo. The time before that was October 14th of 2023, about 500,000 viewers, 504,000, 0.14 in the demo. So they've gone from consistently. It's just dropped so much, and it's sad. It's sad to see, and it's sad to think that we're in a ratings or a promotional war. What did NXT do? Did we get an NXT ratings from last week? I wonder if I could do a search for this. Hold on here. All right, this is according to WrestleNomics. NXT on the 3rd of December drew a 593,000 viewers with a 0.13. AEW 5,000 and on the 4th 586,000 viewers. God, I can't even talk today. So, this is just crazy because you can't even draw parallels anymore. You can't even say that you're in a war when the developmental territory that isn't even airing on your night against you is drawing more than you. You're not in, there is no comparison when you can watch both. One's on one night, one's on the other night. You know, I'm on the East Bank, I'm on the West Bank. That's 2 Men in Tights references in less than a week. You got to give me credit for that. I'm on one side, I'm on the other side. I can watch one show and then the next day I can watch the other show. But guess what? More people are watching on CW, and I don't want to hear this crap about well, CW networks and more available in more homes. I don't want to hear that. Everybody's got some form of cable or satellite nowadays, or something that lets them watch it on their phone, whether it be Sling TV or whatever the case. I mean, you look at the Dynamite to Rampage numbers. The Dynamite on TBS on 12/4, 586,000. The Rampage on 12/6, 177,000 viewers. So, and then, I mean, it's just, there is no war. Again, I'm going to wrap it up here because I'm babbling, I'm rambling on and on. But there is no war. There never has been a war. As far as Ray Phoenix goes, Tony, the only thing I could say is, let my people go. That's all I could say is just let him go, man. You're being as shrewd as Vince McMahon was, and Tony was supposed to be the alternative to Vince McMahon. I'm not going to hold guys to no competes. I'm not going to do this. Remember, he promised this when he first started. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to be like Vince McMahon. But so far, he's one Jackie Fargo strut walk and one more goddamn pal away from being Vince McMahon. That's it for me. There is no war. There never has been a war. Let my people go, and we'll see you down the road.